Hi. Today I want to represent you 9 Dead, a 2009 American horror thriller film. After a series of kidnappings, these 9 people are locked in a room and handcuffed to pipes. Then a masked man comes in and explains that each of them is there for a reason and that in order to survive they must figure out how they are all connected. He goes on to explain that he will kill one of them every 10 minutes until they figure it out. The kidnapper leaves and a countdown begins. The group starts introducing themselves and a few initial connections are made. Christian says he once borrowed money from Sully, but paid it back. Coogan mentions that he has served time in several prisons. Kelly and Jackson are former lovers. Just as the group begins to think it is a hoax, the kidnapper comes in and shoots Christian. After the masked man leaves, Leon has Sully step on his hand until it breaks, freeing himself from his handcuffs. He tries to escape, but is caught by the gunman and brought back. The gunman then kills Coogan, who had previously mentioned that he was going to die anyway. The shooter whispers the reason in Coogan's ear, whereupon Coogan attacks him before being shot. The shooter tells Leon that he will be the next to die. With only 7 people left, Mrs. Chan recognizes Kelly as her former lawyer after her store was robbed 2 years earlier. The group begins to see connections between themselves and the robber, Wade Greeley. The gunman returns, but since the 7 only know part of the story, he shoots Leon. As the theory is challenged, it becomes clear that Father Francis knows more than he is letting on, but refuses to give any more information. Eventually it turns out that Greeley did not rob the store. The real robber, Christian, has confessed to Father Francis that he committed the robbery to pay Sully. In a lineup, however, Mrs. Chan mistakenly identifies Greeley as the robber, and Kelly charges him. At this point, the gunman re-enters, and since all connections have not yet been made, he attempts to kill Eddie, but Father Francis places himself in the line of fire and is killed instead. When Kelly identifies the shooter as Wade, he denies it and leaves. After the shooter leaves, Sully realizes that Christian did not own a gun before robbing Mrs. Chan's store, but must have bought one from Leon. The gunman comes in and aims at Mrs. Chan. Instead of whispering to her why, he hands her a note in Chinese. She pleads with him in Chinese to reveal the shooter's motive to viewers who understand Chinese, before she is shot. Kelly begs him to let her go to be with her son, but the shooter angrily berates Kelly for using her son as an excuse and leaves, but not before implying that Jackson is the father of Kelly's baby. Kelly confirms that Jackson is the father of her son, and also reveals that she fabricated evidence to convict Greeley, saying that she had to win a case after many losses. She also reveals that Jackson unwittingly helped her fabricate evidence, and that she once killed a man who raped her in self-defense and swept it under the rug when the rapist's body was found. Eddie realizes that the shooter must be Greeley's father seeking revenge, and the remaining 4 wonder what happened to Greeley after he went to prison. The shooter returns and kills Sully, who shows no remorse for his actions. With only Kelly, Jackson, and Eddie left, the 3 strive to make connections for Eddie and Coogan. Eddie suspects that Coogan infected himself earlier with AIDS, and since he has been in several prisons, he may have raped and infected Greeley. Then the final connection is made. Greeley applied to Eddie's company for an experimental drug to treat HIV, but Eddie should have turned him down because of his criminal conviction. They explain this to the shooter, Greeley's father, who removes his mask and agrees to let them all go. Kelly is released, but after slowly revealing her true nature, steals the gun and shoots Greeley's father, Eddie and Jackson. Greeley's father, who was wearing a Kevlar vest, recovers briefly and explains that the whole time, everyone was watching, and that they now know who the real Kelly Murphy is. He is then shot in the head, and Kelly escapes as the police arrive.